You can't be surprised. You at home, you better not be surprised. You had this coming, AJ. We gave you the big matches. We gave you the big pay-per-views. We made you a star. We paid you like a star. While I struggled, while I starved, forcing myself to be a junior. Everybody called you a leader. Everybody called you the boss. Well, AJ, if you were the boss, I'm just gonna say it. You have now been fired. Whoa. This is your severance package, AJ. And from here on in, you guys know it. I am not a junior. I will not challenge Kushida. Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for your title, because the Bullet Club, we rule the world. The elite, we rule the world, because Bullet Club is for life, except for AJ Styles. Goodbye and good night.
Wow, Kenny Omega declaring his intention to move up into the heavyweight division and challenge for the IWGP Intercontinental.
Skills and vocabulary too. Cover hits in the distant distance, it's all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetarian like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
So in almost 5 years of this podcast, we have thought about trying to do something new and just trying to create good, solid content for all our wonderful listeners. And we've always promised that we would cover things outside of WWE and what's going on in the States. So today we dropped the first of, we hope, many, is the New Japan report. Basically what goes down, we talk about New Japan a lot. We are big fans over here. And thanks to New Japan World, we get to see the pay-per-views more often. So we decided, hey, why not record a podcast and talk about what we saw, what we liked, and, you know what I mean, not much that we didn't like, and just kind of go with our journey through watching New Japan. Just an alternative product from the other side of the world that we kind of dig. It appears that New Japan is trying to make big inroads in the United States market, and as such, the WWE is trying to make big inroads in the Japanese market. Hopefully these competing agendas will cross over and create some great content, some great wrestling for you fans, and give us some more stuff to talk about. So without further ado, my name is Keith Holt. I am the founder of Ringtime Pro Wrestling and co-host of the original podcast. It's our 5th year, so we, like I said, we decided to add something new to the spice of your lineup. Also, you might miss us for a week. So in between, every now and then, we will give you another show. This show in particular will not drop every week, but as much as they produce new things for us to consume, we will drop a new podcast. Probably the next big show that's going down in New Japan is the crossover venture with CMLL. So we will keep you abreast on that. And matter of fact, I can give you the schedule because I think it's like a 2-day event. So yeah. It will be going down on the 22nd and the 23rd of this month. Actually, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So, New Japan presents CMLL Fantastica Mania 2016 is going to be at Karukin Hall. So, we'll talk about that. And we probably may not record until the end of the month when we start talking about the road to New Beginning, as they will be doing some shows there. Whether the shows are in English commentary or not, we will try to give you just an idea and a look at what we talk about, what we think. It has helped tremendously that a lot of shows recently have been in English commentary. starting with King of Pro Wrestling. Now, they fixed some of the lag issues that they had in King of Pro Wrestling. And when we came back this year, in 2016, kicking off strong, Wrestle Kingdom 10 was an incredible event. And we're going to go down the card, and then we'll follow up with New Year Dash. We will also talk more about the rumors of New Japan talent defecting to the WWE and what that all means. And if somebody is actually defecting, or if we think who we think will actually defect. So that will be discussed also in this podcast. So hopefully y'all stay tuned and enjoy what we got for you. So let's get right into it. Let's talk Wrestle Kingdom 10, Tokyo Dome show. Probably the biggest show in wrestling next to WrestleMania. Some would argue it's just as big as WrestleMania. I wouldn't go any further than that. The commentary team was Kevin Kelly, Matt Striker, and Yoshi Tatsu jumped in on the English commentary. Former WWE superstar and, you know, Japanese wrestler Yoshi Tatsu got in and had some fun. Show opened up with the New Japan Rumble. It was entertaining, Royal Rumble style battle royale, but to eliminate, you didn't throw people over the top rope, you actually pinned them, which was an interesting twist to it. Cheeseburger lasted pretty long in said match. Funny, I had been hearing about Cheeseburger. I've watched ROH a little bit, not really seen him a lot on TV. I know he did an interview on Jericho's podcast, but this was like my first real time to sit down and watch Cheeseburger. Nothing against Cheeseburger. People who know me know I'm sensitive about black wrestlers, and I'm very sensitive about comedic black wrestlers. But hey, man, Cheeseburger got to get a check. I get that. He's 125 pounds and he want to be in pro wrestling, so brother doing what he got to do. Didn't think they treated him bad. I thought the match was a little bit funny at times, and it had a lot of funny spots. Also, had a lot of legends, a lot of old guys. It was good to see a lot of those guys, though. I hadn't seen the Great Kabuki in years. Didn't know he was still wrestling or trying to do anything in wrestling, or even showing up for Legends things. As far as my introduction to Great Kabuki was world class. Always seen him a couple of times there, but great to see him. Great to see Haku. Haku was in the building. And showed up both nights. One of the most dangerous dudes in the world. So it was good to see him in the match. All in all, Jado ends up winning the match shortly after entering later on in the match. But all the legends stuck around. Liger was around for a while. Tiger Mask was around for a while, which I always say you never have a New Japan pay-per-view open up if you don't have Tiger Mask and Liger in the opening match. It pretty much is not even fun to watch. That was like a pre-show kind of thing. The actual Wrestle Kingdom hadn't really kicked off. After that, we rolled into like a cartoon, and we went to a promo. And it rolled for a while, and it was entertaining. I didn't understand a lot of it because that was, of course, not in English. But then we got to back to the pay-per-view. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Titles were up for grabs. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Redragon, defended their belts against Matt Sydal and Ricochet, also known as Prince Puma for you Lucha Underground fans. Roppongi Vice was in there, and the Young Bucks. Crazy match. When you have a fatal four-way and you have guys with that kind of athleticism, expect Demolition Derby, expect theatrics. They didn't disappoint. I know a lot of people don't like a lot of high spots and things of that nature, but with these guys, I'll allow it. I think they are very entertaining. I think they still told a story, though, and at the end of the day, Young Bucks were able to win the match, which they had a lot of help because they had Big Cody Hall sitting on the outside of the ring, taking care of business for them. Which, what I was trying to figure out was any team was going to be able to figure out how to neutralize Cody Hall. Now, that being said, with a fatal four-way, if you put any kind of effort in neutralizing Cody Hall, how are you going to get the pin? Well, that might open it up for another tag team. But it obviously didn't, because the Young Bucks were able to get the capitalization out of all of that and work their way to being the new champs. I think it's probably their second or third time holding those belts. And they, of course, will defend them in the United States, in Ring of Honor and other places. But good to see them. And, hey, always down for the Bullet Club. Next match, never open weight 6-man tag team titles. These are new belts. They were introduced, I think, at Wrestle Kingdom. The Briscos was one of my first times seeing them in New Japan. And Yano took on the Bullet Club members, Bad Luck Fale and Tonga, who coincidentally is Haku's son. And Bad Luck Fale is Tomo's cousin. So I'm assuming that Fale is Haku's nephew. And Yurjiro Takanashi, who is the only Japanese member of the Bullet Club. Just a random factoid there. Match went back and forth. Briscos brought it. I think they got to do more dates in New Japan. Their style and their force, I think, will do them well in New Japan. May offer some bigger paychecks than what they get in the Ring of Honor. Not sure what the financial state of Ring of Honor is and what they paying out talent. I don't know what the new deal with Comet TV helps them out with. Don't know how much Sinclair is invested in the wrestling, but I know New Japan cuts big checks. So hopefully the Briscos can take advantage of that and get some of that action. After that, we had a Ring of Honor World title match. Jay Lethal took on Michael Elgin with Truth Martini in his corner. About a 16-minute match. Solid effort. Hey, man. Michael fought the good fight, but he's going to need somebody to neutralize Truth Martini if we're going to try to beat Jay Lethal straight up. You can't, because Jay Lethal ain't playing straight up, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to need some help with that. Next up was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title with Kushia taking on Kenny Omega, challenging Kenny Omega for the belt. Kenny Omega held that belt for a long time. And I honestly expected him to walk out the event with the title, but he didn't. He lost. And I think that's going to be foretelling. Like, I really didn't know what the events were leading up to Wrestle Kingdom as far as the backstage stuff and some of the politics and some of what was going on with contracts and guys. So it was kind of interesting now watching the results because they make a little more sense. Kenny Omega, the loss isn't a setback. It's more of a setup for a transition. Kind of like back in the day in the WWE when you lose the IC title, but then you make that world title push. I think we're in a similar situation with Omega. IWGP Tag Team Championship, GBH beat the Bullet Club of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, which once again, we now know there's a deeper meaning behind it, which we'll get to later. Haruki Goda defeated Naito in a match that wasn't even on the original slate. But I think what they tried to do was, this card's so loaded and the emotion was so heavy. And watching Bullet Club lose those tag team titles and the fans going nuts there. Good buffer. Got everybody to, kind of recalibrate their head. Because the next three matches were bananas, right? This is, when you talk about loaded card, the whole card, I really didn't, I was entertaining the whole 3.5 hours. That's clearly never a dull moment. But when we got to the never open weight title, which I really, really want to see what they do with that belt. That belt is going to be interesting because the never open weight belts kind of compete with the IWGP, but when you have so many belts, I think it's going to be time at some point to consolidate. But a lot of talent are over with these belts. I mean, Kenny Omega was over with the junior heavyweight title. The Bucks and Redragon, hey man, they got a lot of mileage out of the junior heavyweight tag titles. But never open weight title. Shibata took on Tomohiro Ishii And Shibata, of course, came out with the win. About 17, 18 minutes. Solid match. Couldn't find no holes in it. Very intense. Nice spots. I think Shibata has a bright future. I think he's going to be somebody that we can look to going forward, doing big things. Next match of the night to me. And there was a match of the night purely on the action. Shinsuke Nakamura defends the IWGP IC title versus AJ Styles. This is going to be a match of the year candidate already. So when you start putting in your top 5 matches of the year, there's only 4 slots left. Because I don't think you're going to top. I just don't think there's going to be 4 more matches or 5 more matches that's going to top this one. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. Very intense. Nakamura, king of strong style, never disappoints. AJ brought it. We were on pins and needles. Even though we knew AJ was leaving New Japan and we knew the contract was up, who knew? I mean, he might was going to re-up, right? Very possible that AJ was going to re-up with New Japan. So it was kind of like, I really don't know how this is going to turn out. Also, hey man, losing to Nakamura once doesn't mean he wouldn't come back for another shot. But hey, he lost straight up, and it was a good match. Now, the world title match following this, I think, had the best story. Hands down, best story. Because it's a rematch from last year's Wrestle Kingdom 9. You got Okada versus Tanahashi. And pretty much this is what the deal is. Okada has been trying to step up to be the man in New Japan for I don't know how long. And Tanahashi has been basically their John Cena. He's been untouchable. He's been the dude. He's been the man. He's getting a little longer years, but he's been the man. Okada, no matter how many times he wins a title, because this is like his 3rd title, it doesn't really mean it until you beat Tanahashi. And it also doesn't really mean much until you beat him at Wrestle Kingdom. Until you beat him in the Tokyo Dome, that's where it matters. Hey, The Rock could beat Stone Cold at Battleground. He can beat him at In Your House. It really don't matter. If you don't beat him at WrestleMania, it's not the same. Daniel Bryan had to win the title at WrestleMania. Hey man, Roman Reigns, until he wins the title at WrestleMania, it just ain't quite gonna mean whether he walk in and walk out with it or he gotta walk in and take it. It just ain't gonna be the same. Hey, we can go any wrestling organization. If you don't beat Ric Flair at Starrcade, you beat him, but you ain't really beat him. It matters. This one, it mattered. Okada, and I mean, it was back and forth. You didn't know how it was going to go, which I think how every good wrestling match should end. I think the doubt should always be there, right? You should always believe that the winner had a legitimate chance of losing. Unless it's just a squash. But you got to believe. There was a lot of false finishes. We didn't know. We got kickouts of the Rainmaker. How is it going to go? But Okada came out on top. He finally got his bells and whistles, man. He finally got his roses. He was there to catch the streamers this time. And I think that was awesome. It was a passing of the torch. I think it's a year in the making. Like this, a lot of people expected him to win last year. But I think they said no. He's not going to win it. And then we're going to put it on him next year. And we're going to stretch this story out. And I think when Nakamura beating AJ, I think it sets up a good. This is the next feud is Okada Nakamura, right? That's the next feud to take New Japan into the future. That's the one and Nakamura has that win in the G1. Remember, Nakamura lost to Tanahashi in the finals, but he got that win over Okada to get there. So you kept Okada and Tanahashi apart, set it up. Tanahashi won G1 so he could face the champion. Champion has to be Okada, who beat AJ Styles at King of Pro Wrestling. So we all got it. We got it set up perfectly, right? We take the belts. Here we are. We got our champs. let's see what happens. Nakamura. Okada got to avenge that loss to Nakamura. Nakamura wants to ascend to the top himself. He wants to sit on top of that throne. They can play this out all the way next to the next Wrestle Kingdom if they so choose. So with that all being said, we go ahead and wrap up this portion of it. That is it for Wrestle Kingdom. I will drop in a short little break here, and we'll come in and we'll finish up with New Year's Dash coverage. And with New Year's Dash coverage, we'll talk a little bit about the defections and what they could mean, and basically with the results of New Year's Dash, who looks like they may or may not be around for the next year of New Japan. So stay tuned.
It's gonna last. How many times am I gonna come to this country and receive no peace? Because when Cactus Jack comes to Japan, everyone's gunning for me. Bang, bang. How many times are they gonna rip my flesh? How many times are they gonna tear at my skull? How many times till they finally figure out that you can't stop Cactus Jack? Every time I step into Korakuen Hall, they surround that ring with barbed wire as if it's really going to stop me. Well, Nakamaki, Leatherface, let me include you on one simple thing. You can't stop Cactus Jack! I'll wrap you up in that barbed wire. I'll be your worst nightmare! Because I have the Crypt Keeper on my team. I know I can't trust Leatherface. He showed me that last time. Every time I step out in the ring, Nakamaki's got a new weapon gunning for me. Bang, bang! Well, tonight, we're gunning for you. Not for the next time, but for the last.
So with the second half of this, let's go ahead and talk about New Japan New Year's Dash. Solid show. A lot to invest in. 2 nights in a row. I guess New Year's Dash would be equivalent to the Raw after WrestleMania, which, just like the Raw after WrestleMania, is a lot of fireworks. Show opens up per usual with a tag match. It was a 10-man tag. You had the team of Cheeseburger, Tiger Mask, Komatsu, Fujiwara, Japanese legend who also participated in the New Japan Battle Royal, and of course Jushin Thunder Liger. And that team took on Sho Tanaka, Nakanishi, Takanashi, Nagata, and Koshinaka. One thing you could definitely tell from the Japanese crowd, Cheeseburger is definitely over with them. Like, they really dig Cheeseburger. He gonna have to grow on me, but the New Japan crowd really is a fan of Cheeseburger. If you didn't get it from the first night, you definitely got it the second night. The match was decent. Fujiwara starts off, does a few of his classic bits, gets over. This was a second match where a lot of legends kind of got to get their stuff in. Cheeseburger did a few moves, got no-sold. Got some help from his teammates, though. They ended up breaking it down. They ended up taking the match. Crazy to see how he's over in Japan. So expect more to see more from him in Japan and here in the United States with ROH. Second night in a row, our good friends Ricochet and Matt Sydal took on a team of Jay White and David Finlay. We did not see either one of those gentlemen at Wrestle Kingdom. David Finlay, as you know, is the son of legend Fit Finlay over here in the U.S., of course, and abroad. So it's good to see him get some good television time. Ricochet and Sydal look very good. That team is going to be hard to beat, man. Whoa, that team is going to be hard to beat. Would love to see Sydal in Lucha Underground with Ricochet. Of course, Ricochet is Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, and I would love to, bring that over and have them do their thing there. A lot of high flying, nice spots. I got to give Sydal credit too. That guy really got himself in shape ever since he left the WWE. Evan Bourne was a little prickly thing. Like, this guy is really ripped. So I will give that man credit where credit is due. The announcers were calling for a Ricochet Sydal versus Young Bucks match which I think will be happening sometime in the near future. There's no reason why that shouldn't happen. Third match of the night, Jay Lethal and Truth Martini hanging out over in Japan. And he took on Juice Robinson, a young kid over there who's learning the ropes over in Japan and been working out in the dojo over there. Jay Lethal wins with the lethal injection pin. Juice got a lot of offense off of this match. Looked pretty good. We'll see what happens with him in the future also. Truth Martini got involved with the match. Juice had to deal with Truth Martini, and that's kind of what helped Jay Lethal take that over. Big match. Bullet Club held it down against Kushida, Tenzin, Hanama, Makabe, and Kojima. So basically what happens is Gallows and Anderson take on the people who beat them for the belts with a few other guys. The Bullet Club team consists of Anderson, Gallows, Takanashi, Toma Tonga, and his dad, Haku. Haku in the Bullet Club. Of course, Amber Gallows, the Bullet Babe, also was on the side checking out the match. Really solid match. Bullet Club was in control most of the whole thing. Very interesting that Anderson gets the pin with the Magic Killer on Hanma for the win. Now it's perceived that those guys will probably be gone for the promotion, Gallows and Anderson, but I doubt it. I really don't know if they're going to leave New Japan right now. They're still hot, and I would expect at least one rematch for those tag team titles. As far as I know, Gallows is not still under contract, but Anderson, his contract maybe ends at the end of the month. We'll see how it all works out. I would suspect that maybe New Japan tries to bring those guys back. As you know, there's a lot of WWE rumors with those two involved. They would be a great infusion in WWE if used right. Gallows' first time around in WWE did not go as expected, but with him having more cachet now and more power and leverage because he can go somewhere and make a lot of money, maybe he get to call some shots before he signs this contract. We'll see. Next match. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Mascara Dorada of CMLL fame, and Michael Elgin took on Los Ingobernables, if I'm pronouncing that right. This one is interesting for two reasons. One, good to see what Michael Elgin, with him getting more work over in Japan, what that's going to look like. And what's the future of Tanahashi? We saw over here in the United States when Cena finally got out of the main event picture. What did he do? He gave some credibility to the United States title. What is Tanahashi going to do out of the main title picture? Because you got to believe, I mean, for Okada to have his time, he's got to kind of sit back a little bit and fall back. And what is that going to look like? Because I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. I mean, he's probably only in his late 30s, so I think he still has some time left and still wants to do some things. Into this match, Los Ingobernables pulled Dorada's mask off after the match. They end up beating them, and hey, Kushida comes down to the rescue, and you know, it gets a little hectic. The match of the night is of course, Shinsuke Nakamura and Yoshihashi took on the Bullet Club, which consists of AJ Styles and Kenny Omega. Okay, this is the match that basically turns the tide of everything that's going on right now in Japan. Very good match. You can kind of tell Nakamura was dinged up from the previous night in wrestling AJ Styles, so he was a little ginger. You know what I mean? You could tell that maybe he was still suffering some of the effects of the match. AJ also looked like he was suffering some of the effects of the match that those two guys had. And it was going back and forth. Everything looked pretty good. Star of that match, Kenny Omega, who scores the pinfall on Nakamura. Now, I think that is huge. Very, very huge. Because this is like his step into the big time. And getting a pinfall win, even in a tag match, over somebody who we perceive is going to be challenging for the world title soon, has got to be big for a guy who was just coming out of junior heavyweight. Of course, the groundbreaking thing, as you heard in the opening promo of this show, hey man, AJ Styles get kicked out of Bullet Club. And I mean kicked. With the super kick from the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega makes an executive decision. Kenny Omega also announces he's no longer wrestling in juniors. He's coming to the big boy leagues, and he wants Nakamura. He's not going after that junior heavyweight title anymore. He's looking for at least a shot at the IC belt. I think you're witnessing the rise of Kenny Omega. I think he's using this. Hey, AJ's leaving. We don't know if he's coming to WWE officially, but he hasn't re-signed with New Japan. His contract is up. So we'll see what happens with AJ's future. Well, one thing we do know, Kenny Omega's plans to be around, and I think Kenny Omega plans to take the next step in the ascension of where he's going to go. The Young Bucks plan on being a part of that. Gallows and Anderson, we don't know. I mean, as of right now, everybody's still there. Everybody's still happy. And, you know, they all co-signed them kicking AJ out the group. This is similar to when Devitt got kicked out of the group before he left for the WWE. Afterwards, after the turn, the New Japan crowd was really appreciative of AJ Styles. They chanted AJ Styles. They know this was his last match for at least the foreseeable future, and they were cool with it. So, hopefully, you know, we get some closure out of this. After that match, we get to see the world champion come out in his first action since his big win over Tanahashi in a good old 6-8-man tag match. Redragon, Shibata, and Goto take on Roppongi Vice, Okada, and Ishii. Things got crazy. It broke down before the match even got started. Bodies flying everywhere. People going crazy. People drop kicking, flying everywhere. The match was pretty much chaos, with the winners being Redragon, Shibata, and Goto, due to a submission hold that was done on Kakai. After the match, Goto tells Okada he's going to take the heavyweight title from him. So we got somebody else already in the mix looking for the world title. We'll see how that works out. Final match of the night was the never OpenWeight 6-man tag team championship, where the Briscos and Yano took on the Bullet Club. This version of Bullet Club featured the Young Bucks and Bad Luck Fale, and of course Cody Hall is anywhere that you see the Young Bucks. The Briscos start out strong, did what they usually do. Fale tagged in, tried to give some, help to his team. Didn't quite all the way work out. Very strong match. Cody Hall tried to get involved and accidentally gets himself kicked. So, things happen. At the end of the day, the Briscos and Yano keep those OpenWeight 6-man tag team championships and probably will hold on to them probably to the next big pay-per-view. I'm not sure how much the Briscos are going to get over to Japan to defend those belts. Maybe they drop them on U.S. soil to a team that may come over. The beauty of the challenge exchange between New Japan and ROH, you'll see a lot of those stars throughout the year in both promotions. So there's always a chance for those belts to get defended. They're new belts, and I think they're really trying to work to get them over. I mean, having them close out this show was huge, especially with all that went on. And I think this would be a good spot for the Briscos. And I hope a lot more New Japan work. I would like to see them challenge for the IWGP tag titles. I think they would be an interesting tag team to maybe be in New Japan full time and just kind of do some more spot shows at home in ROH. But like I said, really at the theme of all of this to me was the rise of Kenny Omega. I think he is going to be the breakout star out of all of this. Who goes to the WWE remains to be seen. I would bet AJ at least takes a shot at it. I think he's probably got them to a deal that he likes and maybe won't have to spend any time in NXT and go to the main roster. And I think that's what a lot of these guys probably try to negotiate too. I don't think any of them want to go to NXT right away, and nor should they go to NXT. I mean, if we're going to consider NXT a developmental brand and we're going to pay developmental money, that's not where any of these talents should be. We should be talking straight main roster. I mean, especially if we're going to pay them like we're going to need to pay them. Because I'm sure they're not taking those stiff pay cuts to leave New Japan. I know everybody in New Japan at least probably has 6-figure deals right now. So taking the NXT salary is not probably even in the question. I think that was one of the sticking points with James Storm and coming back to TNA as opposed to signing with NXT was that, hey man, that NXT money ain't what it's popping. Especially somebody with that much experience. So there's ideas for Nakamura. I'm very scared for Nakamura coming stateside because I'm not sure if they can handle or treat him with how I would expect to see that talent handled. Gallows and Anderson, I think they can make a good run in WWE, but once again, it also depends on management and how they handle them. There's rumors that Fale and Tonga also will have discussions with the WWE. Coming from that legendary background and relation to Haku, I can see them possibly coming over. They say Fale doesn't really want to. Tonga does. So we'll see. New Japan isn't devoid of talent either. So losing these talents won't hurt them as much. Losing all of them will cause some problems. We'll see how Jado handles things. What does he do with Noah over there in Japan? Does he bring guys over from Noah? How does he stack his roster? And like I said, what we're dealing with is a very special time in wrestling. WWE wants to do big things in Japan. They've signed Asuka. They've signed Tommy. The WWE Network premiered in Japan January 5th. So they're looking to do big things. And New Japan apparently is trying to do big things in the U.S. They're working with ROH. They're doing a lot more shows over here. And they're providing English commentary on New Japan World. So let's see how it all plays itself out. This is our first episode of the New Japan Report. I hope you liked it. We'll probably try to bring in some guests here or there. And we'll see how it all works out. So with that, I am out, and we will be back Wednesday or Thursday with our regular Ring Time Pro Wrestling show. And with that, peace.